This is I Don't Want to Fit In podcast. I'm Anung, a fellow multi-passionate artist, author, photographer, poet, writer, and everything I feel like doing. Talking about all the ways we can be creative, from hobbies to full-time incomes. Going over tips and tricks, mindsets, and just the joys of putting what we love out into the world. You can follow me on Instagram at I Don't Want to Fit In podcast and Anung V. Reviewing and leaving comments is always a great and free way to support an artist. And with this first episode, with my first blog post I'm going to put out there, is that I wanted to kind of talk about why I don't want to be just one thing. Like the idea of everyone having to niche down for things, that's a big thing that they tell you in businesses and stuff like that. And even as an artist, they want you no, you are a romance writer. You are only an acrylic, mythical painter or something like that. And my thing is, I don't want to do that. I have so many different interests and everything else. And I believe I can make them work together. With this podcast, with this site I want to have my artistic side all together. I want to have my fiction writing, my nonfiction writing, my poetry, my photography, but also my travels all in one thing. And I want to be able to do that together. And I feel like I can share it just as well for people on this site and everything else. And I my thing too, because I want people to be able to realize that being multifaceted is actually what we are. As humans, we are all multifaceted. We have so many different interests. We have so many different things we want to do. So I don't want people to feel like they have to go with all this curated stuff. When it comes to, especially with Instagram and stuff like that, all these people who are content creators that yes, you niche down to a point, but you kind of want to make sure you still actually have everything you want to do. I enjoy all these different things, and I don't want to have to not do them. Now, I do understand that you can't do everything at once. I still have times I schedule myself out so well that I can actually do all the stuff. I know it takes it slower for me to get it done, but that makes me happy because that's how I work. It's how I actually do better with how I'm creative and everything else. So I will write only 4 days out of the week, but then I will also work on my poetry 3 days out of a different week. I work on one of my websites, my Courageous Creativity stuff, 2 different days out of the week, while 2 different other days I do my artist website. So I have it all scheduled out that it works for me, along with my freelance stuff. So yeah, my days are busy and full, but I don't feel like so much is work because I love what I do. I have time. My thing too is I actually schedule in that I make sure I get it all done. Yes, there are certain things that I cannot do right away because I just don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I do understand that. Right now I am working on the rewrite editing of my fantasy book, but I'm also writing my poetry and getting it kind of ready to publish a poetry book. I can do those both at the same time, but I can't work on a third book because I just don't have the time or energy. But I do have what God, who told me this? Katrina Widener, really good coach, business coaching out there, has what they call a parking lot list. So you have these ideas, you give yourself a chance to write out all the details that you want to really quickly and just have it right there. So it's not I'm never going to do it. It's not yet. Which is kind of what the important thing is, that I feel like for me, it doesn't feel like a final thing because it's just a not yet. It's not it's not a no for anything else. And I feel like that's less constricting. I feel more free about being certain things, and I can get some of the stuff done because I know it's just when I have the space again, I can throw it in there. Once I finish my fantasy book and it's out there and I've already kind of got my marketing already figured out and just scheduled, and I don't do as much stuff there, then I can throw into more time with another project. When it comes to my Introvert's Bubble podcast, I did most of the recording of that a few months ago. I still have a few more episodes in there because if something kind of comes up, I'll throw it in there. But that was pretty much recorded, written. I have someone else making the graphics for it. That was all done months ago, and that whole podcast is gonna go for 3-4 months at least from what I have right now, and just be fine. So I don't have to worry about it. That got done, and I still have the project. It's still running good. It's still a good marketing thing. It's still part of my other business. But I still want like time to do other things. Like I want to be able to, on top of all this stuff being creative, I still want to be able to hang out with friends, do stuff with my family. It works for me and how I do this stuff. And doesn't have to for you guys either. Like you can actually decide to be more than one thing. Like that should be kind of who we are as people. We should be multifaceted. We should be, I mean, that makes us, what's what makes us interesting. Like I have certain people that honestly they have like one or two things and that's literally what defines them. Like you as a woman are not just a wife and mother. Like you can be a wine enthusiast. Like I'm not talking about the wine mom things like that, not that stupid stereotype, but you can actually be another person who loves to crochet, or you love to rescue cats, or like I've had people kind of look at me weird because I'll throw out the most random information about like dogs. Like I love researching about dogs. I love animals like the canine. Dogs and wolves are kind of like my thing. Like I volunteer for an international wolf center. I have my own dog. I'll dog sit for other people sometimes for free because just kind of like you give me a dog that I can play with, and then he goes away. So after a while, so I don't have to worry about cleaning up after him or anything like that. Like, awesome. That's part of me. Like me being a dog lover is part of who I am. It's part of me being an artist. It's part of me being a writer. It's part of me being a podcaster. I'm hopefully someday going to be a YouTuber. Like who knows? Like this is going to be actually my very first time I'm going to record video for the podcast, which I'm doing right now, and putting it out there. Like I'm actually going to start doing a lot more when it comes to videos on Instagram and TikTok. Like that's gonna be kind of like part of who I am and everything else. And that shouldn't be like end all be all. Like I'm never gonna be just a YouTuber. I'm never gonna be just a podcaster because I enjoy too many things. And that should be fine. Like that's the one quote that everyone gets wrong is like jack of all trades, master of none. But the full quote is, but better than a master of one. And yes, when it comes to being a brain surgeon, I want you to be so freaking focused on that and only that. But when it comes to anything else, like you can be a pilot as well as a farmer. You can be a marketer as well as like a rescuer. Like there's all these different things you can be and do and still be fulfilled and not have to, like there shouldn't be that worry that we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. Like I feel like there's that big disconnect between like yes, you need to be fulfilling and you need to have hobbies and all that stuff like that, but those things are not as important as like these aspects of your life. Like those are just little like side notes instead of them being like big pages, big chapters of your own book that you of your life. So that's what I want. I want to put that out there, and I want other people to feel okay with it. That you can have all these different things you want to do. Like, yes, I'm going to be running 2 different businesses. I might start an Etsy shop because I can. Why the hell not?